All right, listen up.
You can do more than just hear us. You can also watch us on the video feed.
Do it live
at NBC1260.com.
All right. Welcome back to Beyond the Curve, providing strategic insights on international business and international law. I'm Jeffrey O'Brien, alongside my co-host, Dr. Adriana Sanford. Also joining us, Hugh Wolf and Luis Rodriguez. Let's pick up where we left off. We're going to talk about international pricing. Let's talk about transfer pricing. How do you know what to charge your foreign affiliate or subsidiary?
Well, what you want to look at, there are basically 6 elements, Jeffrey. You have to weigh those elements. You need to look at taxes. If the taxes in the foreign country are higher than in the United States, or if inflation is high in that country, you would want to charge more because you would want to capture more of the money in the home country before the product actually enters the foreign country. You also would like, you should look at maybe the foreign currency exchange, repatriation risks. Also, let's take a look at the duties and the tariffs. If they're low duties, low tariffs, let it go in at a higher price. Because, if you're going to have a high tariff or high duty as your product is entering, you want a lower price. You don't want to pay that much. Another one you can look at is also the image you want to give. Do you want your subsidiary to look more profitable? If you want it to look more profitable, you want to charge a lower price so that the price is actually captured in that country. You want to be negotiating with the government. You want to, there's a whole bunch of different things that you want to take into consideration.
Those are the basic 6 factors that you need to take a look into when you're going to price a product or service overseas. But also you have to take a look into the 3 main issues that you're going to have there when you are in that country. Then you're going to have price escalation. You're going to have foreign and inflation risk. And also you're going to have what is called dumping. And 3 possible solutions for this is, for example, if you go into a price escalation because there is a competitor in the market and you're taking market share from it, you just shorter your length of the distribution channel so you make it more quickly and more effective. When you have currency and inflation risk, what you do is you quote in stable currencies such as the dollar or the euro, and then you hedge your positions so you're covered. And if you find the problem of dumping that can happen in other countries because the competitors say, I'm going to lose money, but I'm going to get you out of this market, then what you do is you establishing your relationships in those local countries, and then you start lobbying the local government to set up anti-dumping duties or anti-dumping laws.
And you can actually get with the WTO or some of the international institutions to help you out with some of those illegal activities.
Correct. Those different layers and those different actors, they will help you out as well. But the factors that you need to take more into consideration, Adriana just hit the nail in the head there. And if you start getting into those lower issues, then that I just mentioned, that should give you an idea how to set up a pricing structure for your products or services overseas.
Absolutely, and this goes back to the basics. What Luis talked about as far as the dumping, and this is a very, very important subject, and it's a subject if you're a multinational and you're going in and you're making a presence in this country, a lot of times companies will just go in and start doing business. Usually what I will do with a company is you want to introduce them to future potential partners, but you also want to take them around and maybe introduce them to the central bank, members of government that they may be dealing with, so that, the Foreign Investment Committee, so that later on, if they do have these challenges, if they do have these problems, they can pick up the phone. I had one client that actually, had a real challenge in a country and didn't realize it. It was actually an embezzlement. It went on for years. I was brought in at the very end. When I realized what was going on, I immediately contacted the central bank. I immediately started making calls, and they said, well, why didn't your client call us ahead of time? Why didn't they make the initial phone call to us to see how things were going? I said, well, this is a problem a lot of times that we happen. And we got out of it, and we were able to successfully maneuver ourselves through this situation. But it was a lot more difficult because they didn't take the first step of actually meeting with the government.
Creating those relationships.
And I want to just throw something out there for the small businesses or the small industries that wanted to go to those markets. The State Department And the embassies with the commercial attaches offer a lot of information. And that if you contact them in the country that you're doing business, they bend over backwards to help you. I have been, in my case, I have seen it in Germany and I have seen it in England, and they were phenomenal.
Well, it sounds like it makes sense before you go into any market that you do your homework. And also, perhaps even look for a Sherpa, a guide, somebody who can help you navigate the legal issues and the governmental issues and the labor issues and some of the other types of issues you're going to run into. What kind of people are you specifically going to be looking for when you go into these markets? Are you going to be looking for lawyers? Are you going to be looking for business people who are already established in the community? What are the kinds of things you're going to look for before you launch in these communities?
Everything will be very specific and very, very domestic, but always, always help to have a lawyer at hand.
Right?
Yeah, that's a very good point, Luis. I think what's important is, just because you want to go international and you want to go into certain countries doesn't mean you should be in those countries.
Exactly.
There are certain countries that you have to be more weary of. And you may enjoy traveling, you may enjoy vacationing in those countries, but doing business is very different. So make sure you know what the transparency rate is. Make sure you know what you're getting into. Not only if it goes well, but what about what's a legal system like? Because if it doesn't go well, you want to make sure you have a good legal system, a just legal system. Otherwise, you'll have a very hard time pulling out, and you'll have a very hard time going through the process.
Exactly. What you're really saying is what we have to do is research. Know what you're getting into before you take that initial step going in.
Yeah, it's like my grandpa used to say, people don't plan to fail, people fail to plan.
Right, and lawyers are good at that because lawyers actually plan
exactly
for the unexpected. Another point I want to make is you have to be aware of the fact that just because they speak the same language, it's not the same culture. I think a lot of people make the mistake, they go into one country, they'll go into Mexico, and then they'll assume, well, we're doing well here, so we're going to go ahead and go into Venezuela or Chile.
Right.
And they're different cultures. They have different origins, and the way they do business is very different. If you look at Argentina is mainly a lot of Italians. Chile, a lot of German influence, a lot of French influence. So in looking at these countries, just because they speak the same language, you're dealing with a wide array of cultures, and you have to be extremely careful and conscientious when you're going in that you are not offending people and that you are actually working with them on their terms. You don't do business the same in Brazil as you would in Argentina. In Argentina, you can be late for a meeting because it's the Italian, approach, relaxed approach.
The way that you set up your body language, the use of your hands, the way that you direct speak or indirect speak, the loss in the translation sometimes, it is just a phenomenal aspect of it that we can talk forever about it, but it's a very important point to take into consideration.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to get more into cultural intelligence topics here a little bit later in the show. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about branding.
Wonderful.
Maybe even get in the world of counterfeiting. This is Beyond the Curve. I'm Jeffrey O'Brien alongside Dr. Adriana Sanford, Hugh Wolf, and Luis Rodriguez. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to NBC 1260.